What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here. It's Wednesday afternoon. I know usually we're not here on a Wednesday afternoon, and usually we're getting ready for Dynamite. But as you guys know, if you join me every day, it's my mom's birthday. So we're going on a little road trip tonight, and we will not be here for Dynamite. So I figured today, this afternoon, while I got time, let's come on here and let's do the WWE Draft Mock Special as me and my special guest, a first-time guest here on Tino's Time, guys. We'll be drafting Raw and SmackDown. I'll be representing SmackDown. He'll be representing Raw. We're going to do 5 superstars. We're going to do 2 superstars from NXT that we think we're going to be called up. And then I got some other pictures and things that I'll show you and what I do think the full rosters may be after the draft that I personally think. We'll ask our guest what he thinks and everything like that. So let's not waste any time, guys, and let's welcome our guest here. First-time guest here on Tino's Time. Happy to have him. Happy to do the WWE Mock Draft Special with him. Guys, it's the Will Gray. Let's welcome Will to Tino's Time. How you doing, Will? Thanks for coming on.
Tino, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for allowing me to come into your domain and, interject myself into you and your listeners. I'm hyped to do a draft. This will be the first one I've done this year, and I'm excited. It's going to be a fun format and see what kind of rosters we can pull together.
Yeah, man, I love the draft. Like, I don't even care. Like, my GM mode, I think I've done the draft more than I've actually played the mode yet so far because I just love doing drafts. And, like, back in the day, I used to do them, like, with the superstars myself. I used to make, like, everything. So I love the draft. It's one of those things that when it was announced, it's one of those things that, obviously we had it in 2016. We've had it in the past. And I feel like besides the first one, and like the one in 2016, I really don't remember like there's a lot of them I don't remember like where like they face the superstars because they've had a lot of different things. They've had where they pick each GM picks them. They've had where people had to win matches for their brand to do it. They've had, there's so many different ways. So before we do get going and everything like that, with this year's draft, as you said, you're hyped for it and everything. What is like your excitement level? How do you think they do this? Do you think we see matches? We got the Usos and KO and Sammy, but I mean, that's for the titles. So how do you think that they do this on Friday?
I think Friday and Monday, both when they kind of start the process, we'll kind of see that slow trickle effect. It's not going to be kind of an instant gratification where they're going to start drawing names out of the hat with their draft picks, and we'll see that immediate change. We'll see new stories and new feuds kind of unfold as we see these straws get pulled. Some of my big predictions that I've said since the draft was announced, I see something crazy happening. A la the Dudley Boys, but with the Street Profits. I see Montez getting drafted to either SmackDown or Raw, and then Dawkins getting drafted separately from him. I see this being a Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon thing coming up. So that's my big prediction in the draft.
So you think the Street Profits are breaking up? See, I agree with you too on that because I think Montez Ford is that guy that is going to be, he has the potential to be a superstar. And nothing against Angelo. I love Dawkins and I think he's great. I just think that Montez has everything that they want. So I definitely agree with you on that. And it's funny because I'd split them up in my like prediction things I did. So if I show them and everything, they'll see. But I mean, I'm just very hopeful that this works because the biggest thing with the draft, it's like it always happens. But then in like a few months, we always see the guys going to Raw or SmackDown or the wild card rule or whatever the stupid nonsense that was. And it just like the draft. Like, I remember back in the day, or like I always remember watching like the Royal Rumble, and when we had Raw on one side, SmackDown on the other, and I actually felt like they were like going against each other. And like we would see these guys on SmackDown, and like I would have fights with my friends who'd be like, I watch SmackDown, I watch Raw, I won't watch SmackDown. Like for a while there, I would have friends that would not even come over on Fridays or Thursdays because they were like, I'm not watching this crap. But Mondays, they'd be calling me, let's talk about it. So that's the one thing I do hope. And we obviously have got the new world title. So whatever brand Roman Reigns doesn't go to, we'll get the new world title. What do you think about the world title?
I love it. I'm an old school guy at heart. Anybody who's ever listened to my show knows that I cut my teeth on the end of the NWA days in the late 80s, early 90s. That's what I grew up watching. So I love I posted on Twitter yesterday about it. It's kind of an homage to the current WWE title the big gold belt, and the 10 pounds of gold. You get that big dome globe in the middle, the big roundness shape of the big gold belt, and they stamped the WWE logo in it. And everybody says it looks crazy. To me, it's a good moderation because they took the whole thing from being a WWE logo and made it fit to the dome. So it actually made the logo smaller when you think about it. Because on the current Universal title, the whole, the whole
Oh,
F in front of the thing
right.
is just too
Yeah.
big to use.
I always liked it like with like the ones that were in the middle and you had like the different things around it, or like Big Goldie. It was just like, or like me, I'm a John Cena fan. Everybody knows I'm on. So I always loved the spinner belt. But it's just one of those things that, like you said, like and the more and more I look at it, the more and more I feel like it's going to grow on me. And obviously, once somebody wins it and everything, and once we do draft the rosters, I figured since you are on with whoever does draft Roman Reigns, or maybe because so we'll see. And I'll ask you who you think will win, because they are doing the King of the Ring and everything. So I don't think anybody cares about what we have to say. Let's just get to drafting and let's start doing it. So as I said, guys, we're gonna do 5 rounds or 7 rounds. Let me see, 7 rounds. Because I want to have 5 on each brand and then 2 from NXT. So what is that? That's 7 rounds, right? I just want to make sure it's 7 rounds. So we're gonna do 7 rounds. We're gonna have 7 picks, 5 from either Raw or SmackDown, and then we're each gonna pick 2 from NXT if it's a tag team champion, whoever they may be. And then I have a full roster of things, as I said in the beginning, that I'm going to show you guys. And I want to see what Will has to say about my 2 rosters that I constructed over the last week, sitting there a few hours a night trying to put these superstars in. So since you're the 3-hour show, and I figured we do it like a snake draft. So you go first since you're Monday, and then I'll go. I guess I get 2, and then you could get 2. So we'll do it like that. And since you're Monday Night Raw is on the clock.
I would probably say with Monday Night Raw having the 3-hour show, I'm going to think of a perspective of how I would run it as a general manager. So I'm going to take the best available superstar on the board. So I'm going to take Roman Reigns, number 1.
Oh, damn, man. What the heck?
That's not what I would do in real life, though. I think from my perspective as a general manager right now, I'll take the best. I would probably say Raw should take Bianca or Cody first if they get the number 1 pick.
And that's the thing. It should be very interesting. As you take Roman Reigns, the head of the table goes to Raw. And I didn't, when I did my picks and everything, I didn't put the champions because I figured I'd just put the champions. I wanted to do it different because I figured it would be boring if I just did, because I feel like we already kind of know, Roman might stay on Raw or stay on SmackDown. I've heard rumors of Gunther and Austin Theory switching like they do every year. They think that we haven't figured that out, but they literally do it every single year. So, man, Roman Reigns, great pick. And I do think that, wherever he does go, I think, it will be good. But, if they're right, that's what would happen is they would pick Roman Reigns. And I feel like that's the other thing that should be interesting is who's going to be drafting for these guys. Is it going to be Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville? Are we going to see somebody like not Daniel Bryan, but remember when Daniel Bryan returned, are we going to see something like that? That's what I'm very interested in.
Are they going to make it a work where they make it look like the executives from USA and Fox are drafting their teams? Because you remember they did that the last draft or the draft before that, where they made it look like the TV executives were picking their teams.
Oh my God, man, that was the worst thing ever, because you knew it was just like a pick, and then every time it was the same thing.
Yeah,
and it's just why are we getting so excited because we picked one person, I forgot who they picked. They were all, I was just come on.
They take you to those little crappy war room shots where it looks like, Vince and Bruce are sitting there and Fox calls them and Fox is saying something. And I'm like, God, guys, come on.
I'm trying to see the superstars like they did back in the day, and they had to put the shirt on, and let's see, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, pissed off Undertaker because he's drafted, because he's got to go to SmackDown now or whatever the case is, or the Dudley Boys getting split up. Show the emotion side of it.
Honestly, and I was talking about one of my shows, and before I make my pick, because I'm next, I feel like what they should do is they put everybody in one giant room, have one room for Raw, have one room for SmackDown. And I don't know if you ever watch Hell's Kitchen or anything, but when they get the black jackets, they're all sitting in the one room, and they all wait for somebody to walk in. So like, say Roman gets picked, Roman's sitting there with Paul waiting, being like, hopefully the Usos come in, hopefully, you know what I mean, or whatever it may be. I think that would be very, because the emotion side just makes it even better. So it just
Ray sitting there, and then all of a sudden Dominic walks in the locker room because he gets drafted, and they're sitting there in the same room now. Like something like that.
Yeah, it would make it more fun. So my pick, SmackDown's pick with the first overall pick, and I do believe this is going to happen. I don't know why, because I've been going back and forth, and after yesterday and after, I don't know. So with the first overall pick for SmackDown, I'm going to take the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, as my first pick, and I do think that he is going to go to SmackDown. I don't know why, but I kind of do hope that he does go, and if, like you said, like you hope in real life Roman stays on SmackDown, I'd really like to see Cody finish the story and then have them do something else with the world title, have like Seth and Finn, or have, something like that. I don't know. I guess not Seth and Finn, because I feel like, I don't know. That's the one thing. It's like you feel like where some of these people are going to go, because like Rhea's on SmackDown, she's a SmackDown Women's Champion, so you feel like Finn's going to go to SmackDown and Judgment Day, and because I feel like they'll be drafted as a team. So, but yeah, so I'll let you go now, or I guess it's my, or no, we'll just go back and forth. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go second round.
This is the one where it starts to get screwy, because in my head I said take the best available. Okay, with Roman. So my second pick, I'm like, okay, now pick the best available female superstar. This is where it starts getting screwy, because we're going to find ourselves in another situation like we did a few years ago. Because with my second pick, I'm taking Rhea Ripley, the current standing SmackDown Women's Champion.
Troll. And that's, well, no, and that's the thing where it just like, obviously we're just doing this as like fun because we like drafting and everything, but something like that could happen, and it's just like, well, then now what? And it just like, that's the one thing I've kind of like always disliked about it, because like they're doing it like, we still got Backlash and we have the matches at Backlash, so we're kind of like predicting where we already know where these guys are gonna go. So it just, yeah. And I mean, I could see it happening, but man, Roman Reigns and Rhea Ripley, I think that's a great roster. So now with my second pick, and I'm not going to take a woman yet, because I feel like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you'll take both of the women's championships. I don't know. But with my second pick, we just talked about this guy, and we just talked about them splitting up. I think that my man grabbed the red solo cups. We're turning him into blue solo cups. And with the second round pick, I'm taking Montez Ford, not the Street Profits. I do believe that Montez Ford will be drafted to SmackDown, and that Angelo will stay on Raw. And either way, I just, like we talked about, I feel like it's going to happen, as we, with Montez, he's done so good that I think there's no reason why he shouldn't like have the opportunity to be a singles competitor.
That's a solid pick. I said it since Elimination Chamber that Tez needed to win that belt and start his singles push. He's been a top dog. This isn't a Tez is better than Dawkins, though. This is a Ron Simmons and Butch Reed thing in Doom, where it's good and really good. You know what I mean? So Tez, absolutely great pick. One of the best in the business right now.
I was going to go to the chat real quick. Sorry.
You're good.
We got kicking with Leo. Leo said join. If you're still here, possibly after we do the mock draft, man. I don't know. We'll see. What's up, Sports Capital? Thanks for coming and hanging out. We got the mystery lucky man. Thanks for stopping by. We got Hassan in the house. Thanks for stopping by. He said he's going to pick Edge with his next pick. Hassan, everybody in the chat, I see we got 10 people here, so everybody keep commenting. And after we do, me and Will do our draft picks, we will go into the chat, see what you guys think. Let us know what you guys think about our rosters so far. Will's up next, and just to let everybody know, so far Will's got Rhea Ripley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, and Roman Reigns, and I have Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, and Montez Ford. So, Will, third pick of the draft, who you got?
With the third pick for Raw, I'm going to continue to go with my reign of gold. I'm going to bring the Intercontinental Champion, the second longest reigning IC champion in the last 25 years. And I think he'll probably beat Honky Tonk's reign, the Ring General Gunther.
Just Gunther or Imperium?
Just Gunther. I'm drafting the IC champion to Raw because in my brain as a booker, I see bringing a solid IC champion on that continues to run that mid-card championship. And then when I'm ready, Gunther is a plug-and-play world champion to take the belts off Roman whenever I'm ready to.
Man, that would be sick. That would be amazing. I love Gunther, and it's kind of funny, like we call him Gunther now because at this point I kind of forgot his name was Walter, and everybody hated it so much. But it's so great that he's made that, like, he's a perfect example of somebody that it doesn't matter what the name is, he can go out there and make names great no matter, because that's how good he is. And man, I would love to see that. So that's very interesting because I think that they keep Imperium together. But I mean, man, that would be very interesting to see him just by himself. So, and I think him keeping the title would just make so much sense until that time. Like, there's nobody to beat him right now. I feel like who's going to beat that guy? Man,
you're absolutely right. Like, he's in the same boat that Roman is. They've got him built so big and unstoppable that he could literally hold the belt as long as they want him to. You know what I mean? That means we can build somebody up from underneath, and it's going to be that ultimate, the underdog baby face dethroning the giant that we saw. We've seen it a million times, but you know why? Because it works every single time.
Every single time. You're absolutely right, man. And you're killing me with all this gold. So I think I have to take somebody with gold at this point. Or SmackDown's not going to have any gold because Will's going to have it all on Raw. So with it's the fourth round. I'm losing track of rounds already. With the fourth pick in the fourth round, I don't want to do it, but he beat my guy at WrestleMania. He is the United States champion. It's A-Town down. It's Austin Theory. Since he'll take Gunther, I'll take Austin Theory and get at least some gold. So somebody's got something to fight for on SmackDown.
Well, Cody's going to get the heavyweight title anyways. Call a spade a spade. We know that's coming.
Well, so guys, since Will did draft Roman Reigns, that means I automatically get the new world title. So that don't mean we're not fighting for nothing over here. But yeah, because I think that's what Triple H said pretty much. Whoever drafts Roman, they're automatically going to get the championship, right? The other brand.
Yeah, whichever brand Roman goes to, he defends the undisputed Universal title exclusively on that brand. The other brand immediately gets that belt, and they will determine on that brand who builds to Night of Champions for the tournament or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm like, wait a minute. It would be funny if they actually had like a graphic for it. If they put it up like drafted WWE, I'd laugh. So with the fourth pick this would be the fifth pick now. Okay, so fifth round. So this is the last round that we'll do with like the actual people. Like this
is my fourth pick.
Huh?
This is fourth because I got Roman, Rhea, and Gunther.
Oh, okay. No, it is fourth. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
No.
Thank God you're here. This is why I said I can't do it alone because I mess that all up. So go ahead. My bad. Fourth round. Got this.
For my fourth round pick, this is going to be where I need to ask you a question. Well, I'm just going to tell you, I want to pick Braun Breaker.
Okay.
He's that baby face that's coming up. He's not really being used on NXT, sort of, but kind of. I didn't see NXT last night. Did he get booked on Spring Break?
He did not get booked on Spring Breaking, but he got booked at Battleground, and he didn't accept the match. But Mello asked him for a rematch at Battleground, and that was one of my like picks I was gonna do. But after last night with like Battleground, like we were talking a little bit before, and yeah, so there was like. So, he got involved. He's apparently facing Braun. We have Gigi's facing JC next week. We got Indy Hartwell just won. So she won the champion. She's still the champion. So there were a lot of things that happened last night that I changed everything around. But, yeah, I mean, man, I do hope that Braun does get picked. And, yeah, I mean, you could take somebody else from NXT. I would just thought it would be fun to have just two, picks just exclusively to NXT, but you want to have 3, man. That's okay with me. So
I'll use Braun as one of my NXT picks then, because I think Braun being called up could be that overpowering babyface that could eventually be behind Gunther. So I feel like Roman, Gunther, and Braun. So Roman is the undisputed champion, building for Gunther to take it, and we can build Braun up to take the IC title off of Gunther.
you're just showing up over here, man. You're playing my GM mode in Tino's time. Like, man, great pick though. So yeah, and you could do it either way if you want to. It don't matter. I was just saying. So yeah, so if that's one of your NXT picks to be, that's fine. So he used his first NXT pick, and now it is my turn. Because so okay. So we are now in the next pick. I'm gonna go with, and I don't really think this is going to happen, but got to get some more gold here on Tino's time on SmackDown. So I'm going to go with the EST Bianca Belair. Since you took the SmackDown champion, I'll take the Raw champion. So the EST
That's a solid
coming
pick.
over. She's joining Montez, and they're leaving Dawkins on Raw. They said, bye, Dawkins. They said, we leaving you, buddy.
Ooh. All right. That's a good pick. Because now you got to think, or we're going to have to do the awkward belt swap. You put
I know, right?
Yeah, the awkward belt
do you
swap
think
where
throws
Rhea and
it?
Bianca got to meet in the ring, just like Bianca and Becky and Charlotte did. It was Becky and Charlotte.
That was awful. That was
so This is tough. My 5th pick, I'm going to add some depth to my women's division. I'm going to take Asuka and bring Asuka to Raw.
It's Asuka. Man, I hope Asuka comes over to Raw, and I really hope, and I've been saying it a lot on people's like podcasts. I try to watch everybody's podcast as much as possible when I have time and everything. I just am praying that this is what Triple H has been waiting for. And obviously we've been saying, and everybody's been going on this and that, but if this is what the plan was, and I heard a podcaster say it yesterday, it's not like they didn't have this title in the works. They had this, the title isn't made overnight. Like they had this title, so I'm really praying this is what Triple H was waiting for. We were talking about possibly Pete Dunne coming back, Cameron Grimes to the moon. We haven't seen him in years. Like there's like other people I think that could possibly come back. So I'm just praying. And Triple H said it's changing the game. So I'm believing Papa H. And until he proves us wrong. And this is, I got no, as you can see, I'm a White Sox fan. So I got no hope in sports. So this is what I got to look forward to now.
I'm a Tennessee Titans and a UT Vols fan, man. Like there's always next season. Always
next season, man. So I'm really praying. But yeah, man, Asuka is a great pick. And I'm going to use, for my next pick, I'm going to use one of my NXT superstars. And I think we saw this person compete last night and she lost, but that's okay. She had a great run in NXT, but I think it's time. And guys, it's time to call. And I just so happen to have it because I do think this is going to happen. Roxanne Perez coming over from NXT, coming up over to SmackDown. And in my mock draft, I'll have her fight Bianca and they'll fight for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
That's a excellent pick. There's nothing wrong with that pick. When she was in Ring of Honor, we saw she could be the face of a company. We know she can handle the stress. She came into NXT and immediately got the strap and with the rocket attached to her. Roxanne Perez is a bona fide star, no matter where you put her.
And the fact how young she is like crazy. Like the younger these superstars get and the younger that they are and the more that they know and stuff, it's like, how did I'm almost like my birthday's next week and I'm turned 27 and I'm like, damn, like how the hell am I like I'm 27 and they're 22 sitting on NXT. Like what the hell am I? What the hell? Like at 22, I was sitting at Dave and Buster's watching TV. Like so it just, man, I don't know. But man, I think it's time for Roxy because I just think, if she was going to stay, I think she would have lost or won last night. And after last night, like I was saying, I feel like that was a lot of telling because I do want to talk about it. I want to see how our mock drafts go, but we'll talk about something else because I don't know if you did see it on NXT, but your pick's next. You next. Who you got? 6
This is me playing fantasy booker here.
Let's
Okay.
do it. I love
Okay. So
fantasy
my
booking.
second NXT pick is going to be my future of my tag team division as I look at it on Raw. They're currently in NXT. They're really unhappy with their booking because they don't like the gimmick. That's the boys from Schism. Switch them back over, bring the grizzled young veterans to Raw.
Please, man. If I'm Triple H and if I see, because I was kind of hoping that somebody was gonna pick him, because I didn't have him on here because that's just the thing is I don't know. But man,
Yeah.
if they were to do that, we didn't see them yesterday. We saw Ava and Joe Gacy. That he was another guy. Joe Gacy, I thought possibly would, but then he's competing against Charlie Dempsey next week and Drew Gulak in a match or something. So I don't. So that's the thing. So maybe they keep Joe Gacy and Ava, and maybe Triple H was like, "Listen, guys, come here. We'll bring, you know." So man, great pick. That would be phenomenal. And I actually, since you didn't pick them, I'm going to take a tag team from NXT, and this is going to be my second NXT pick. And I wanted to mention it. They died last night. The family keeps killing people, bro. Why do we keep witnessing murders on NXT? They just throw people over the bridge and they show up somewhere else. So I thought that trunk match was great, but I also thought it was a great way to obviously put them and have them like just move on. So my second NXT pick, I got to get a tag team in there. It's the guys from NXT. Can everybody give me a yeah, boy? It's Pretty Deadly. It's Kit. It's Elton. Kit and Elton guys going over to SmackDown. And I've heard rumors of them going over to Raw. So I mean, either way, if they get picked up or if they get as long as they go to the main roster, I don't mind anywhere. But I'm gonna take Pretty Deadly with my second pick.
That's a solid pick. Those guys are on a hot streak. I'm not a huge fan. It's more of a preference. Like, when you eat ice cream, there's lots of different flavors of ice cream. Like
Yeah.
when Pretty Deadly works in the ring, it's just not my favorite flavor of ice cream. I'm not a big character-based wrestling fan. And if you look at most of the people I drafted, with the exception of like maybe Rhea, Roman, like the rest of them are really worked based wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like Asuka has Kana, but she's a strong style worker. You know what I mean? That's what she's known for.
Exactly.
So it's just like not really my cup of tea, but I appreciate what they are. They're great at what they do.
Yeah.
I just don't like that style. You know what I mean? Real, just kind of dramatic for me.
No, and I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from, but I mean, yeah, I mean, they're great at what they do, and I think, I mean, there's another tag team from NXT. We'll talk about a little bit later, possibly, because once we do the mock draft, I figure we'll still talk a little bit, and like I said, I got like pictures of my full rosters, so. But it's time for the last round of our mock draft, and you use both NXT? Okay, so you got one more main roster. Who you got? Last round of the mock draft.
The only pick I'm missing that I didn't get written down was your second pick. Who did you pick after Cody?
Montez.
That's right. Okay.
Thank goodness for writing it down, because I was about to after like the fourth round. And I'm like, wait a minute.
No, I started to, and for some reason I missed Tez. My seventh and final pick is going to be the glue that kind of ties this foundation of my roster together, and he is who I have called the Babe Ruth of WWE, and that is Seth freaking Rollins.
And true, I got it. There we go. I finally have one that you picked. There we go. Seth freaking Rollins, guys, going to Raw. Yeah, no, I believe this is gonna happen too, and that's the thing. I was hoping, because that was the thing. Like, these are just the ones I made. I was thinking about making one for every superstar, but I just ran out of time. But man, I think Seth going over to Raw would be great, and that's why I have like Cody going over to SmackDown, because I think it would be good, as much as everybody wants to see them fight each other again. Like, I do think that maybe it would be good to see them split up and like go on and like see one finish the story, have Seth be the WWE champion, again. And maybe we could do, if they're not going to do Survivor Series War Games or something, maybe they do Cody versus Roman, champion versus champion. If that's what, again, we don't know. That's November, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, if they keep that, I mean, that's a way for them to be able to see it again in a big pay-per-view. So And the fact that Seth Rollins lasted the 7th round ain't gonna happen in real life, just so everybody knows. So,
Not
but
a chance.
not a chance. That's like the NFL draft when you're picking up like a Josh Jacobs in the 5th round, and the guy goes out and gets all those points for you.
Mm-hmm.
Man, NFL draft is tomorrow, guys. Don't forget, go check out the mock draft for the NFL I did yesterday. You gonna watch the NFL draft tomorrow?
I'm an avid Tennessee Titans fan. I'm a former PSL and season ticket holder. Love the Titans. But outside of the AFC South, I really don't give a shit about anybody else, man. I don't have any backup teams. I'm not okay, if the Titans aren't playing, I'll watch somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I watch the Titans and that's really it. I don't really have a rooting interest in any other teams. I have a couple players that I like a lot. I like Aaron Rodgers. I'm curious to see what he does following in Brett Favre's shoes and going to the Jets this year, because they just drafted their guy, or who they thought it was, a few years ago.
Man,
so we get this like new school versus old school there. Like, there's some cool storylines coming down the pipes in the NFL. But when it comes down to it, like, I'm just worried that the Titans are going to get relegated to the USFL.
Oh God. And after hearing the rumor about Derrick Henry, if the Titans trade away Derrick Henry like they traded away AJ Brown, I was going to be like, what is going on?
They put Ryan Tannehill on the block yesterday. ESPN was putting out reports of landing spots for Ryan Tannehill for what the Titans are asking for him. Like, you know how screwed we are if we lose AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, and Ryan Tannehill, 3 guys in 3 years.
It's just like, man, it's one of those things. And like, I'm a Bears fan, and the Bears traded away the 1st round pick and everything. But like, as just depressing as sports have been in Chicago, I just can't like I try to just look at the next, like I get more excited about wrestling stuff. Like, I'm more excited about the WWE draft than anything. WWE is my new sport, because at least I know like something happens. I can't get too upset about it, but stuff like this gets me excited. So, but NFL draft tomorrow, 7 p.m. Who's the Carolina Panthers going to take? A lot of guys to be taken, but we're obviously doing the WWE draft. I just figured I'd ask you. I figured we want to get to the chat though real quick. I see a few people commenting. We got Cage in the house. What's up, Cage? Thanks for coming and hanging out. He agrees with me with Roxanne Perez going to SmackDown. Braun Breaker was on a yes. Braun Breaker was like I said. That was the biggest thing about last night. I was trying not to. I had to like change like 4 of my pictures because they all were built. I'm like, so that's not going to make sense if they get drafted, if they're competing at Battleground. Like, that just like, and that's my biggest worry is like one of these people are going to be drafted, but they're going to be competing at Battleground. And it's like, well, that's not a draft then. Like,
well, what I was saying earlier too is they'll kind of trickle affect it. We're not going to get this immediate turnover as much as we would love to see it like it did back in the day, where you've got to walk from the Raw locker room to the SmackDown locker room. They're going to finish playing this out probably through, I would say, after Backlash, but before Night of Champions. We'll see.
It'll probably be Monday. The Monday after Backlash will probably be the season premiere of these new shows. Is like,
so we could get all the way through the next NXT pay-per-view before we've got to worry about it. So Braun Breaker could get drafted to Raw and still be on that pay-per-view.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. And you're absolutely right. Like, we're hoping, and I'm trying to stay positive, but you're absolutely right. That's probably exactly what's going to happen. And I was trying not to like think about it, but you're absolutely right. I'm
a cup half full guy, Tino, man. I'm always going to find the shiny side of a coin.
I just try to stay as positive as possible, because I just, the negativity just tears me down as much. I just can't deal with it. I just, Cage says he reads minds.
That's my boy Bakley. He's definitely, he's a good guy.
Yeah, look, he's in the one group with us, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in one of our group chats.
That's what I thought. Okay. That's right. Their contracts are up, and they said they aren't going to be renewing, but that doesn't mean they can't do anything until October. Like, what are they going to do? Sit in the back and fight with Gacy? I mean, Gacy's wrestling Joe Coffey. So Joe Coffey, that's who it was. Not I don't know why I thought it's Coffey. Man, do you like Gallus?
No, I'm not big on, I'm going to be completely honest. Most weeks, I'm not even a DVR on Wednesday NXT watcher. Like, I watch their pay-per-views and I'll watch like the last 15 minutes of the show to see the main event. I don't follow a lot of NXT. I don't cover it for my show. I don't write about it for the day job. So NXT's like below Impact and NWA most weeks for me before I watch NXT. Like I pay attention to who I think is going to be getting called up because I do cover Raw and SmackDown. But after that, like I really don't fuck with NXT much. It's just not. It's yeah.
And that's the thing. And I definitely feel as much as wrestling as there is on, you kind of have to. And that's where I'm at. Like, I don't watch like Impact or Ring of Honor or anything. They're just like, I watch so much and I've just been invested with NXT and stuff like that. So it's just one of those things where there's so much on, you can't consume it all. So I definitely feel you on that.
Yeah. But, that's the way you look at it. If you look at wrestling Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, both, if more than one pay-per-view is happening that weekend, plus specials, plus network specials, plus dark elevation. Like there's so much effing wrestling, man.
And that's the problem. Like if you wanted to, like you could watch wrestling all day and every day, but you couldn't watch anything else. And like I watch reality shows, I watch like CSI, Law and Order. I may watch too much TV, but like, movies.
We didn't even talk about the indies. Like, like the ton of indie, like the coverage, just my interviews. Like I do interviews 3 nights a week. And like the indie world itself, instead of one big WWE, you get 50 WWEs. You know what I mean? Every one horse town has an independent promotion that has a superstar.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing, man, where just like, sometimes you got to, and people ask me, they're like, and I say, it's like, you got to have time for yourself and find, wrestling just can't be it. So Cage says though, SmackDown, Seth goes to SmackDown, Gunther to Raw. I mean, and that's kind of what I think may happen. But then again, like it also just depends where Roman goes, because we could think that he's going to stay on SmackDown, but maybe they change it last minute. And I hope that's not the case. But then again, like we really don't know what's going to happen. So I feel like that's going to be a big telling thing is where Roman goes. And I really hope, I don't know if you feel this way, I really hope that we don't get Thursday night. Oh, here's half the roster that's getting drafted on SmackDown. And then here's half the roster that's getting drafted on Raw. I just wish, like, can't we just end it on, like, wherever, and then on Monday we just finish where, like, why do we got to do it like they act like it's 2 different nights and, like, Seth and Becky are one big night and Roman and Bianca are the next? It's like, come on. So.
Their roster's too big, too, if you think about it. Like, 150, 160 people, if you think of the full NXT, SmackDown, and Raw rosters all together, men and women, plus injured reserve. Like, if we did this draft, it would be 80 picks on both sides.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the thing, like, they're not going to do it all on SmackDown or Raw. They're going to do some on, like, they might do you remember when they did it in 2016? They did like a preview where they had like and then like during the draft, they had like the little ticker thing. Like, yeah. I mean, maybe they do something like that, but I could totally see them like the Friday night after SmackDown being like Xia Li, Lacey Evans, et cetera, got drafted to these shows, because there's just not enough time in 5 hours of television. That's crazy to say, but to do 80 picks.
They'll do digital exclusives, man. Yeah. I see this being the thing where they'll put them out and they'll make the cheesy things where Vince and them are sitting in war rooms and they're like, my 85th pick, I'm picking fucking Carmelo Hayes. Like they'll do something ridiculous like that.
You did it perfect. That was great. We got A to the K wrestling show in the house. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming and hanging out. I appreciate it. He says, damn, Seth Rollins, number 7, could be the new world champion.
That was a steal, man. When he was, that's why I double checked, because I was like, I don't want to double pick and say Seth if he had already picked him. So when you told me, I remembered you picking Tez, and then I was immediately like, oh, Seth is too good not to pick up on the board.
I see. I was leaving Seth. I was hoping for you to pick him, but like, I mean, I don't know. I kind of do want to see Roman and Cody just, I don't know, Roman, Seth and Cody be split apart. I don't know, but again, we'll just have to see. This is just us having fun, right? So I still have to make my last pick, though. I haven't made my last pick. We're almost caught up in the chat. Cage says they usually close out the storylines at Backlash and Night of Champions. When was the last time they had a Night of Champions? It's been a while, hasn't it?
That was Saudi in like 2018, 2019, I think. So maybe 4 years.
Oh, it's so crazy that
because it was Crown Jewel for a few years.
It's so crazy that that's been that long already. Like I think about it, I'm like, damn. Like it's like crap. Like, oh my god. And yet New Japan Pro Wrestling is we didn't even. I mean, that's on all the time. Like I don't even know how those people stay up with that late, man. Like I give them props. Like, I couldn't do it. I'm
I
falling
watch
asleep
New
at, like,
Japan live once a year, and that's for Wrestle Kingdom. And I wake up at 2 a.m. so I can start it. And that's the only time of the year I watch live New Japan. The rest of the time I watch it on New Japan World to replay the next day.
So do you go to bed early that night, or do you just try
I
to?
usually go to bed at my normal time, 10, 11 o'clock, whatever a normal work night is for me. And then what I'll do is I'll get up at 2 and pound a Red Bull or drink some coffee, stay up for the 4 or 5 hours of the pay-per-view, and then immediately crash again. And I'll sleep from like 7:30 all the way through till like, noon or so that day. And I'll kind of get the last half of my sleep after the pay-per-view's over. It's a weird day
I
because
mean,
getting up at 2 o'clock, dude, it sucks.
oh, I bet. And there's like nothing open. So it's like you're getting up at 2. So it's like you can't even go and get like coffee or
If you
anything.
didn't prepare before you went to sleep that night,
Yeah,
like I had all of my snacks laid out, I had
there you
everything
go.
set up and pre-rolled. So all I had to do was wake up and
Hey,
stumble
don't
into
forget
my
about the
office.
pre-rolls. Those are important.
Everything was set up because nobody thinks about doing that shit at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No. And I'm like half asleep. I'm like, uh-huh. Like, I remember trying to wake up for I think it was like Crown Jewel, or it was one of the Saudi show, or the one of those shows, and I woke up at 10:30 and I'm like, oh shit, it starts at 11. I showered real quick and I'm like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, I give you credit though for that. I don't know if I can get up and do Wrestle Kingdom. This is not Chumblebee X. This is Will the Gray, the Will Gray, not Chumblebee. I don't know where Chumblebee's at. He disappeared. I don't know where the heck he went. He says it's draft day. Yes, it is. Draft starts on Friday for WWE, and then tomorrow for the NFL. We got 2 drafts. Chumble JF.
Yeah, Will JF.
Pre-rolls, joints. Yes.
That's exactly right.
We're all about it here. Yes, we are. 420 for sure, all the time, all day. So it's my turn now. I didn't make my last pick, so let's get back and we'll do the last round of the mock draft. And then I figured I'll show everybody, and I want to get your thoughts on. I've made some other pictures, and there were some that we obviously didn't pick, or that we picked that were on different brands. So get what you thought, and then I got some other things. And if there's anything else we can do, and then yeah. So with my last pick, I'm going to take. I don't know if this is going to happen, and I don't know where, and if he even will be a part of it, because there was a lot of people that were, very, I don't know, but I do think that he will be a part of it. I'm going to say that, and I will take, with my last pick, I'm going to take Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, whatever Bray Wyatt it is. I don't know if he is going to be a part of it, but I hope he is. I hope everything is okay, man. I hope that we see some sort of Bray Wyatt in WWE some way, because the way that everything happened last year was so great, and it just like it all just went like nowhere pretty much. So how do you feel about Bray Wyatt? Do you think we see him? Do you think we see Randy? Do you think, like, now that we completed the draft and before we tell everybody, what do you think? Like, who do you,
As a fan, I hope Wyndham Rotunda, the person, is okay. I know he's going through a lot of stuff mental health wise. I hope that is all taken care of. You set that aside and you look at him as Bray Wyatt, the wrestler. I think he was this is going to sound bad, and I don't want the IWC to come at me with their pitchforks.
Oh God,
but
he
seemed like a flash in the pan. A lot of build, that fantastic return at Extreme Rules, the build to the Royal Rumble, and then it was kind of like the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match was kind of his exploding barbed wire death match. They built it to be this otherworldly experience, and just kind of fell short.
Yeah.
I think Bray is a quality character-based wrestler, as I said earlier in the episode. Those aren't usually my bag. That's not my cup of tea. You know what I mean? But I think Wyatt as a character-based wrestler would be perfect for a program with, like, if we had seen the Bobby Lashley come to fruition, like, put this paranormal supernatural person against the larger than life Superman style character. You know
And
what I
why
mean?
didn't we see that? That's my question. Like, I just don't understand why we didn't see any of that. Like, why didn't we see them come out and do that with like at least have a match? All Bobby did at WrestleMania was come out in the Andre the Giant and do his little, and it was just like that made no sense. So it
The
just
only
like
thing the last time we saw Wyatt was the Muscle Man dance. That was the last
did you
time we
like the
saw
Muscle
him.
Man dance?
Yeah, that was the last time we saw him. And after that, it kind of turned into that whole, did he walk out? Didn't he walk out? Is he sick? Is he injured? Is it mental health? And they just list it as an undisclosed injury. So the question is, like, what does an undisclosed injury actually mean?
Yeah, is it just mental health? Because I always say it and I preach it. Mental health is very important for somebody that
Super
has
important.
a lot of anxiety, depression. As great as and happy as I seem on here, there's a lot of things that I go through daily that is just hard. So it's just like one of those things that if that's what it is, I mean, I definitely get it. And I mean, it's one of those things. But is it like, is he in pain? Is it like, does he got like, is it something that he's just going to be nagging for
Yeah.
like what? Like, and that's the thing. It's like as much as I want to see Bray Wyatt, I want to be able to see him do what he can do and not, I want like it's like, and it's like obviously everything like losing your best friend and everything. I can't imagine, and that I'm sure that still affects him, but it just I don't know, and it just it's hard to say. So yeah, I hope Bray Windham is okay, the person, because that's all that matters, and that's why I just hope he can come back and we do see him at least at some point because at one point, man, this man and I, when we went back and watched all the WrestleMania retros, he faced John Cena, he faced Undertaker, he faced all these guys, and it's like I was thinking about it, like imagine if he would have beat Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 instead of Brock Lesnar, and then that moment that they had at Raw and everything. It's like it's just one of those things. So I
He's
hope
a
Bray
former
does
heavyweight champion, a former universal champion, a former tag team champion.
everything. That's right. Yeah, I didn't even do
Like,
the
he's
title.
got the pedigree. There's nothing wrong with him. And, like I said, he's a fantastic character-based wrestler. He builds his stories. There's always that balance between the story and the in-ring work. And some guys are 50-50, some are 60-40 in lieu of creativity and character over in-ring work. Some guys are like a Daniel Bryan, big on in-ring work, and his character's just a wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, that balances out to tell who that person is. And Wyatt is heavy on the character side. And I think you have to give Wyatt a big enough, like, what's it called? A canvas to paint on to tell you his whole story. You have to have the time and the energy to let Wyatt tell his stories. And I think modern wrestling fans want too much instant gratification for that to happen.
And and the instant gratification, it's like nobody likes the long-term booking. They just want it so bad. But then it's like we got Sammy and Kevin. Like that moment was awesome, but it's like now what are they gonna do? And it's like after they beat the Usos, who are they gonna go after? That's why like Pretty Deadly, Grizzled Young Veterans, possibly the Creed brothers may be coming up. I didn't see them on NXT, so they may be called up. We did see Ivy, so maybe they're splitting Ivy from the Creed brothers. So that's one of those things where it should be very interesting. So, but I just want to get your opinion on Bray because, it is one of those things. And while we're talking about people like that, what do you think we see Randy be drafted? Do you think we see any like surprises like Matt Cardona? Do we see any like crazy things? Or do you think it just, do you think we're hyping this up and Triple H is hyping this up bigger than it actually is going to be? Are we going to be let down on Friday, Will?
No. I think we see some returns. It might not be a Bray or a Randy, but I see somebody like an Eric Young getting drafted.
True.
You know what I mean? He's been on it's been, leaked that he's been under contract since November. They're just waiting to pull the trigger on when to return. So I think we see an Eric Young return. Like I said, I think we see something along the lines of the Street Profits getting broke up, and it'll be as big as they'll make it look as big as they did when the Dudleys broke up or when New Day broke up. They'll make it a big deal. And then I think we see a couple like wild card call ups, like a Pretty Deadly, a Roxanne Perez, and then maybe like a Braun Breaker or something. Like maybe they swerve us and, Mello drops the belt and he gets drafted.
Oh my God. See, and that was the thing,
there's so many things that can happen between now and then.
And that's the thing, like you said, like we really like there's really not too much information right now. It's Wednesday. We don't know how it's going to be. We don't know how and who's going to be drafted on what nights or who's drafting what superstars. Is You know, like, is Triple H going to be drafting both? Is he just going to come out and say, like, so, like, there is still a lot of things to be decided, and we could sit here and do draft. Honestly, man, I could do a 6-hour live draft if I really wanted to. Like, I love drafting.
I could probably, if with the 7 picks we did, like if we had planned it and had the time to do it, we could easily do like a 4-hour special and draft like 20 rounds and like
Oh, yeah.
build stories and stuff like that. Like we could totally do it.
Oh, yeah. And it's one of those things where 4 hours would fly by. Like, it's already been an hour, and it's just like, it doesn't feel like it has.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I figured now that we talked about it and everything like that, and I want to show you because I, like, as you've seen, I've made some pictures and some of them we've got right, but I figured I want to show you guys all of them, and I want to get your prediction, or what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What does the chat think? And then I made a thing for both rosters for Raw and SmackDown, and I'm going to make a little short for everybody in case you guys aren't here and in case you want to see it. But I want to get what your thoughts are. So for my first pick, and you drafted him, I picked Seth Rollins. And I think, you know, Seth Rollins going to Raw, I think it would make sense because, as you said, like, I think, and so Seth going to Raw, and with me, and none of these are champions, by the way, guys. So none of these are actual champions because I figured that we talked about it. Gunther going to Raw, Theory going to SmackDown. Rhea's probably going to stay on SmackDown, and Bianca's going to stay on Raw. So I'm going to say that Seth freaking Rollins going to Raw, and he will be one of the top contenders for the new WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Because that's what it's called, right? It's just the World
It's the WWE World Heavyweight title. Yeah, it's just just like they said it when they had the big gold belt in its place.
Just got to make sure. You never know with these things. It's a WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight.
Yeah. The
And
South
then,
America left side on the
left.
underbelly.
Oh my God,
title.
man! I just can't keep track. There's so many titles. I have the collection with like the action figures, and I have all the belts. At least I thought I did, and then they make a new one. It's like, well, now I gotta wait. So, first pick for Raw, I got Seth Rollins. The first pick for SmackDown, I'm gonna say that SmackDown goes with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And if you guys were here earlier, that's who I picked for SmackDown in my mock draft. And once we're done and I show you, since Will was nice enough to write them down, I want you guys to let us know in the chat, who do you think's roster is better? So, and then I'll also put a poll up and we'll see who they think is better. For the second pick for SmackDown, and it's not Butch. He's coming back. It's the Bruiserweight. It's Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne, guys. As much as I love Butch and Sheamus and Ridge Holland together, I think it's time for Butch. I think it's time for Pete Dunne to go over to Raw. And then we saw this pick earlier. I'm saying that Montez Ford is going to go over to SmackDown, and Angelo Dawkins will go to Raw. And I know it might, and maybe it's the other way around because Bianca and Montez are in a relationship. So maybe Montez stays on Raw and Angelo goes to SmackDown. But I love SmackDown, and it's always been my favorite show. So I'd love to see what Montez can do either on Raw or SmackDown, but I'd like to see him on SmackDown. For the third round pick for Raw, it's the Megastar. I think he could be another guy to be in the running for the new World Heavyweight Championship or Money in the Bank, possibly. Guys, it's L.A. Knight. L.A. Knight. I want to see him get the push, man. What do you think about LA Knight real quick before
I say, as it stands right now, I would say LA Knight is a shoe-in pick for that Money in the Bank briefcase. I feel like instead of having the MITB on the front of it, it should just say LA Knight. Because the way they're building this guy right now is they're screaming future world champion. It reminds me of like the push they were giving. It's very reminiscent of an Attitude Era push. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so good. I just want to see it.
He's a really over superstar, but he's not really a good guy. He's not really a bad guy. He's that quintessential tweener. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to cheat to win. If he has to, he'll come out and bash on a city if he doesn't like them. If he likes the city, he'll love them. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a cool guy. People give him a lot of flack because they say he's unoriginal because he's just, The Rock and Stone Cold and John Cena all wrapped up into one. And I'm like, who gives a shit? The man's been a champion everywhere he's ever worked. He keeps
Exactly.
winning, and he makes a hell of a lot more money than I do.
I mean, big facts. I mean, and that's like, and the fact that it's like he's had all these different characters and he's always done what he's had to do to try. Like he tried his best to do what he did with Max Dupree. Like he did what he could, and obviously it didn't work, but he always just tries, man. And I think he could be a future star. And that Money in the Bank idea, like RVD's Money in the Bank, like the old, like when they first started doing it, and the custom Money in the Banks were so cool, man. Like what the heck? They need to
The
bring that
idea of
back.
LA Knight calling his own shot is where I think it gets fascinating, because he
Oh
could
man,
do an RVD style cash in where
yeah,
he's like, I'm going to wait till the biggest moment. And you know what I mean? He's going to plan it, and he's going to, a big pay-per-view, and he'll be able to go, okay, no, I want to do this. You know what I
exactly,
mean? And he throws that wrench in and just kind of interjects himself into a story. Like
exactly.
he's made for that kind of
Oh,
that love to hate him style role with a Money in the Bank like briefcase holder.
so good, man. I would love to see him. So I have LA Knight. So far for my first 5 picks, what do you think? I got 5 more for the main roster, and then I got NXT picks. What do you think about my first 5?
Right now, I mean, it seems like it's pretty straightforward. You and I talked about it. Like, how are they going to draft it? What's the order going to look like? And I said the moment the New World title showed up, the way they framed it on Monday, I said Rollins and Balor. They're going to throw back to 2016.
Man,
Only this time, Rollins will win the match.
SummerSlam.
You know
Man,
what I mean? That
oh,
match at SummerSlam for the first Universal title was primo. Like,
oh, that
when you
like
think
that
of
feeling, like
yeah,
that's the feeling I want to get again. Like that feeling I had in 2016 when they like did the brand split, and then when Shane and Daniel Bryan had that thing around the ring, and then they introduced that, and then Triple H helped Kevin Owens. Like I just want to have that feeling again, man. Like it just, I mean, that I was thinking about that too. And the only reason why I don't think that would happen is because I don't see them spinning up Judgment Day. But man, I would love to see Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins go at it. And it's one of those things that it's like, do we see, I don't know, man. I just hope that they don't do like the belt swap with Rhea and Bianca. That would be I don't know. Like
I like the idea of those two because they both have that mutual respect. So they
yeah,
could make it that worked shoot like what Becky or was it Becky and Charlotte who
yeah,
originally did it? The
yeah. They
last
just
ones
threw
that
it at
caused
each
all the
other.
drama.
Yeah.
Like Rhea and Bianca have enough respect for each other that they can make it look like a work shoot and like do the exchange and still like go back to your side. You don't go here kind of stuff like Bianca always says.
You
Like,
don't go here. Oh,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think that they could do it and make it a cool story without the unnecessary egos that Becky and Charlotte threw into it.
yeah, and that's very true. So I mean, and it is a very very possible happening. And if it does, I mean, if that's what they do, I mean, again, I always say, it is what it is. We ain't gonna change it. They don't, like, in reality, they don't really care what we think, like so. But man, I mean, either way, I would love to see it happen. So my next 5 picks that I got for the main roster, and then like I said, I did 2 for Raw, 2 for SmackDown from NXT. I got the next, since Seth's going over to SmackDown, or Seth's actually going to Raw. I guess I did this wrong. But anyway, SmackDown's pick, it's going to be his wife, the man, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, I have going over to SmackDown, and I don't know why. I don't know why that I didn't think about it, because they really never do split up couples, if anybody has ever realized that throughout the years. So I feel like Becky and Seth may end up on the same roster, but if they do split up, I do think it would be kind of cool to see Becky go over to SmackDown and have a different type of a rivalry. And first time she ever won a championship was in SmackDown 2016. So go back to where it all began. And the next pick for Raw, it is a woman, and it might be a woman that everybody doesn't like very much, but it's her. It's Bayley. And it's not with Dakota Kai and Io Sky. It is just Bayley. I'm saying the Damage Control breaks up and Bayley goes over to Raw on her own. I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about Damage Control in like general? Like, are you like with them? Like, do you feel like that it just hasn't worked? Do you think that there's still a chance? What do you think about Damage Control?
If you had asked me this question last summer at SummerSlam, I said Damage Control was exactly what this women's division needed. It was a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
Bailey
it's so
coming in
great.
with a group of heels that, you know, she has the leadership and the vet qualities, two young up and comers who both have history with the company. Chef's kiss. I thought it was perfect.
Oh, it was
Now,
good.
almost a year later, I'm looking at it and I'm like, all they've done is chewed on a bunch of L's. They had a few lackluster tag title reigns, and Bailey just has never found her footing as this version of Bailey. I feel like every moment we'll get little glimpses of who she was, but we haven't really seen Bailey come back yet, I feel like. And this
Well,
could be the chance for us to her get drafted. She's standalone on her own 2 feet again. Let us see who Bailey is now. But up until since her return at SummerSlam, I feel like it's just been kind of flat. She hasn't really done a lot.
and that's the biggest thing where it's just like, you know, it's been like what happened last year. It was so great that we were hoping, and maybe it had too high expectations or whatever, but it hasn't worked. So I think Bailey splitting from Damage Control, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. We have Bianca and Io Sky fighting. And I don't know about you, but if Io Sky is the one to beat Bianca Belair, I'm totally fine with it. I don't know if it will happen, but I mean, I think that Io Sky is somebody that really, she was great in NXT, and she was one of those people that, you know, was great in the women's division. And I think that a lot of people don't see that because I've noticed a lot of people haven't watched the old NXT where they don't know who Walter or Gunther, or they don't know who a lot of these people are. And it's like, it takes them a little bit, but like perfect example I always use is Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross in NXT was phenomenal. And then people judge him on what he's doing on Raw and SmackDown. And it's like, you don't understand. Like Karrion Kross is great. He
Go
just has
watch
been
the White Rabbit and Lucha Underground. You want to see some good Karrion Kross. Go see Killer Kross when he was in MLW.
well,
Go
and
see
that's
him as
like,
Killer
he's
Kross
so
and Impact.
man,
Like
he's so good. And
this
it's just one of
this
those things.
Karrion Kross is like a caricature of who Karrion
Oh,
Kross really is. It's not even close to the real person.
and that's the thing where it's just like when I hear people say, I'm like, go watch the old NXT because you'll see what Karrion Kross can do. It's so good. So I mean, man, it is one of those things. So Bailey being, you know, and like I think Dakota could still stand on her own, or if they want to have her be a little side, not even a sidekick, but come out with EO and then maybe start a feud with her. I don't know, but I think Dakota can find her way on her own, and I think she would be okay away from Bailey. So for my next round, the fourth round that I have, because I did 5 rounds, guys, for regular rosters. For the fourth round, I have he's the almighty. He's going over to SmackDown. It's Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, I think, would be really good. And you know, I've heard a lot of the things where they're saying they've kind of scrapped the hurt business and everything like that. But I don't know about you. I'm looking forward to that triple threat match at Backlash. I think Bronson Reed, Lashley, in theory, we're gonna have a great match. And I think it will be very like I think, you know, Theory probably will win it. But those 3 guys are gonna go out there and tear the house down. For my next pick and for SmackDown's last pick, or the first round for the last round, and Raw's last pick in Tino's little 5-round draft that he did by himself, I say that Raw is going to take. He just signed a new contract. I saw him on the poster, so he will be eligible to be drafted. It's the YouTuber. It's Logan Paul. Logan Paul is going to go over to Raw. He's going to be probably not seen very much, but I'm pretty positive he's going to be drafted to some brand, and I'm going to say he goes to Raw. And my last pick in this little Tino's mock draft that I have for the main roster is the Rated R superstar. He's going back to SmackDown. Edge, he's going to go back to SmackDown. He's going to go and see what he can do. Maybe he'll fight, you know, I don't know who will fight, but I think it would be cool to see Edge, you know, hopefully he stays away from Judgment Day, or maybe they do swap the belts and he'll stay away from Judgment Day. But Edge going over to SmackDown. We don't know how much longer Edge has, but I'm just going to enjoy every second of it until we see the man retire, because I love Edge forever. So Edge going over to SmackDown. And I did 1 Raw, or I did 2 Raw, 2 SmackDowns for NXT. So let's go over this real quick. And last night I had Braun Breaker in this position, but after seeing that he's going to probably be facing Carmelo Hayes at NXT Battleground, I changed it, and I think that we're going to see a woman. We talked about the one woman that lost last night. Now let's talk about the other woman that lost last night. I do believe that we will see a few women be called up to the main roster. And I do believe that possibly this girl, she has a Tiffany Epiphany, Tiffany Stratton, may be called up. I think that she very well could be a person to be called up that could have a very good run. That, you know, if they used her right, I do think that she could be up and ready to go. And with her losing, maybe she is the one to beat Indy. Maybe she is. Maybe they continue that or everything. And maybe we see Zoe Stark, somebody like that. But Tiffany Stratton, I think that she is a future champion. And I mean, why not now? Maybe she could be a Carmella type where she's drafted really late. And who knows? Maybe she's money in the bank down the road. I don't know. So Tiffany Stratton going over to Raw. And you guys saw this pick earlier. It's the girl that lost last night too. It's Roxanne Perez. I showed you guys this earlier. Roxanne Perez going over to SmackDown. And I do believe it's time for Miss Roxy to be called up. And the last two picks I have for NXT, I saw somebody mention him in the chat. He lost to the A champion last night. I think it's time. I don't know what else he really has to do, but I think it's time that we see the Grayson Waller effect on the main roster. And I'm going to say Grayson Waller goes over to Raw. He continues to go on the blue brand. They got a 3-hour show. He could do his Grayson Waller effect show a few times. And I don't know about you, Will, but I kind of enjoy that more than a lot of the other ones that they do on the TV. So Grayson Waller going over to Raw. And my last pick for NXT, you guys saw this one too earlier. It's Pretty Deadly. Kit and Elton. Kit and Elton going over to SmackDown. And they could very well go to Raw. But I'm going to say that Pretty Deadly goes over to SmackDown, and they go, and they're called up to the main roster. So, Will, what do you think about the rest of my picks? And be honest, because let me know.
I liked everything except for Tiffany Stratton. And this is going to be a weird take, and I accept that. But I feel like
I like the weird takes.
Tiffany Stratton is just Dana Brooke. Don't they already have that? Like, don't they already have that? Like, why not just use Dana Brooke? She's established. She was really over with the crowd. You've got people holding up "Give Dana a Chance" signs.
God,
you know what I mean?
So
like,
funny.
Give Dana a chance.
It's so
Tiffany
funny.
Stratton, she just seems like Dana Brooke light.
Man, that's so funny. That's so funny. I was trying to think, it's because I did have Ron Breaker in her position. And after last night, I was trying to think, because I do have other people that are being called up, and I'm going to show you my full rosters in a second, because I did one for Raw, one for SmackDown, and I do have a lot of NXT people in there. But last night, I was trying to think of somebody that was like, but man, I don't know. Last night changed a lot for me, because it's one of those things you really just don't know what's going to happen. And until we know if the rosters aren't going to start till after Backlash, if they're going to start May 20th, whatever, who knows? So I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest things. But I wanted to show everybody that. And the last thing that we're going to do, that I have at least before we go and see what else everybody's got in the chat, I want to show you guys my full Raw and SmackDown rosters that I built on my thing that I used. So here's Raw. I got Raw. And I'll leave it up for everybody to look at for a second. I tried to fill up as much as I possibly could, and then I didn't have room. So there might be a lot of superstars that might not be on this that may be drafted, but I used as many guys as I could. So here's Raw, and then my logo. Poor Sheamus. My logo is actually covering Sheamus, so I got Sheamus there. Sheamus is going to Raw. And if you guys can see, I put Pete Dunne, not Butch. So maybe that we see Pete Dunne. Maybe we do see the Brawling Brutes go to the same brand. I just believe that Pete Dunne it's time to come back as the Bruiserweight. And now let's take a look at my SmackDown roster. And if you guys can see the live, or no, the live's not there, it's just on mine. So if you guys can see on top there, I did put Naomi, man. I don't know. Maybe we see Naomi come back. I don't know. I was trying to be a little bold out there. I want to see if somebody noticed it. But, man, what do you, from these two rosters that you see, what do you think? And do you think that, just what do you think about it?
Ilya Dragunov being on SmackDown, I think, is a fantastic pick. I think I would love to see him on the same brand as Walter. just so we get that
Oh,
Gunther Dragunov
bro,
3.
I didn't even think about that.
So that would be my one change is I think no matter where Gunther goes, Dragunov should be right behind him
Oh,
because that's just money waiting to be
money.
cashed,
You're absolutely right. Money.
and built-in rivalries, built-in stories. He was one of the call-ups that I think will definitely be on either brand, and everything is pointing towards SmackDown, but I hope whichever one he ends up on is the same one that Imperium's at.
Man, and that's the thing. Like those are the types of rivalries that people don't like think that we could get. That like if you didn't watch NXT UK, like you don't know the backstory, and it's like, bro, like that match would be like so bad. And those are the types of matches I want to see on a Monday night while we're sitting here for a 3-hour live stream. Because as everybody knows, your boy Tino's here every day live for all the shows. Like I'd rather watch that than sit here and watching somebody come on dance or So man, that would be great. So
Dragunov Walter 2,
uh,
or that was my 2021 match of the year for WWE. When
of
they
all
did that at
WWE.
I think it was Stand and Deliver in 2021, just tore the roof off the place. Just give me more of that.
Oh, it
Let
just goes.
Dragunov be the next big feud for Gunther after he hits 500 days.
Oh man, imagine Dragunov and Gunther facing each other for the IC title. Man, that would just be so like sick. And it just like I don't know if you saw on the Raw, I put Mr. I wanted to call him Jordan Devlin, but I put JD McDonough over by KO. So I do believe that JD McDonough will also be called up. And what do you think about JD? And like, do you think that we see him too?
JD McDonough, you mean AKA Little Baby Finn Balor?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that kid. I think the coolest thing about him was if you once again going back the callbacks to the old NXT, the NXT Cruiserweight Championship during COVID. He won the title and then the lockdown happened and he couldn't come to the States to defend it. So he
Yep.
was defending his half of the Cruiserweight title in
Yep.
Europe and England. And then they crowned Escobar here and they had the interim thing. And
Oh,
then
the
they made him do
interim.
the ladder match. Once again, such a good story that people who didn't watch old NXT Black and Gold don't know anything about. And it
Man,
was
that
such a
stuff
good
was so
story.
good. Like
Yeah.
I go back and watch it now, and like I was kind of going through like a bad time and when all that stuff was started. But as I went back and watched it, just like that, like was just like imagine if we had that like for Raw and SmackDown like every week, man. Like I don't know, like if I would be more excited to watch anything like besides like I just want to have that feeling where like you as a kid you get ready for a Monday Night Raw and it's like let's go and it just I don't know, man. That feeling is just not there anymore. Maybe we're too old, but like shit, like I mean, like
It's
I don't
still
know.
real to me, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. I just noticed you got the MJF scarred off on over here. You're are you better than everybody?
And you know it.
It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday, so I mean, hey, now I mean, we got no more stuff in the chat. So I mean, is there anything else you want to go over? Anything else that there's all that shenanigans going on with Vince right now. But I mean, I don't know how much I really want to get into all that. So, but I mean, I think we got everything here. Will, what do you think?
It's a pretty solid show, man. I think that, like I said, I think you could do this and we could have done a 5-hour
Oh yeah,
stream if we had.
for
It's like a
sure.
fantasy football draft. You give me
Exactly.
24 hours notice, I'll have a cheat sheet together with like depth charts. Like, I ain't even fucking around, man. I'll do it.
Man. Oh, my
But
my
I think we
uncle
covered
buys
it
a book.
well. My big
Huh?
worry is I don't want WWE to forget that this is a good reset point. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Apply a brand split, make it matter. You know what I mean? Make the fans remember why titles are important.
Yeah.
Make this tournament for the new world title mean something. Whatever the mid cards land on, make the mid card mean something. Like, take this opportunity to make WWE mean something again.
And that's the big thing where it's like it could this is the thing that they've been waiting for. And if they just do it correctly, like the audience will go up, like you see it, like you're gonna see it. Friday and Monday are probably gonna be one of the two highest just because everybody loves the draft idea and everybody loves it. Just like tomorrow with the NFL draft, everybody watches the NFL draft and they don't even know who half these guys are. So
Yep.
it's going to be very interesting to see. And I just hope that they build the rosters right. They use everybody correctly. And, again, this is all a pipe dream for all of us. And until we see it, but it should be very interesting. And again, it is only Wednesday. We still got 48 hours till. I'm sure we'll be told Friday morning what will happen and what everything. So, Will, I appreciate you, man, coming here, hanging out with your boy Tino on this draft preview show. And before we let you go and we do everything like that, you want to tell everybody our rosters, and I'll put it on my community page, and let's see who has a better roster, Raw or SmackDown. So,
Okay.
Go ahead. If you were nice enough to write it down.
Our first round picks, I took the undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns. You took the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Second round, I took the SmackDown Women's Champion to Raw with Rhea Ripley. You broke up the Street Profits with Montez Ford. Number 3 were our mid-card champions. I brought the Ring General Gunther to Raw. You took Austin Theory to SmackDown, so we did the swap there. With my 4th pick, I did my first NXT call-up, and I brought up Braun Breaker, and you brought over Bianca Belair to the women's division on SmackDown. Asuka and Roxanne Perez were our next 2 picks. I took Asuka to Raw. You took Roxanne Perez to SmackDown. And then our tag teams, we both took NXT tag teams. I called up the Grizzled Young Veterans, and you called up Pretty Deadly. Seth Rollins rounded out my last pick. And who was your last pick?
It was Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, that's right. And you took Bray Wyatt to finish it off.
All right, there we go. So everybody,
we had very similar draft patterns if you look at it.
I know, right? As you were saying that, I was looking at it. I was thinking about it. So, guys, now it's up to you. I'm going to put it on my community page, put it on Twitter and everything. You guys vote. Which brand was better, Raw or SmackDown? Do you guys agree with Will? Do you agree with Tino? Let me know. And Friday, and me and Will are in a few group chats. I'll let everybody know, and we'll find out, Will, and I'll let everybody know on Friday who has a better roster. So
nice.
That, guys, is everything that we got here for the draft preview show. As you guys know, I've been letting you guys know, tonight we will not be live for Dynamite, celebrating my mom's birthday. Happy birthday to Mama Tino out there. So, guys, we will not be live for Dynamite, but don't you worry, because we'll be back here on Tino's Time tomorrow for another doubleheader. I'm not looking forward to this show because I'm watching the game right now, and they're losing again. Guys, they haven't won a game in a week. I don't even care anymore. Come and hang out with the Southside boys. White Sox sell the team. Rick Hahn needs to be fired. Pedro's bad. White Sox, disaster. I don't even know what to say anymore. Maybe we'll have something good to say, but I don't even know. 0-6 in the last week, Will. I'm just not up for it anymore. So, guys, we'll still be here, though. Come and hang out is what we got to say. Should be an interesting show, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to be very blunt. But tomorrow night, come back and let's watch the NFL draft. And let's watch some good things going on. And let's see where all these prospects, all these rookies go. Who the Bears taking? Who the Panthers taking? Or are the Colts, Panthers, the Texans, Seattle going to get their quarterback? Tomorrow, guys, it's the NFL draft. It's the Southside Boys, episode number 6. Come and hang out, guys. Doubleheader here on Tino's Time. But, Will, now it's your time to let everybody know where they can go and find you, where they can go subscribe. Let everybody know where they can go and find all your great content out there.
Tino, first and foremost, I want to thank you again for having me here and letting me come into your space. I am the Will Gray. I'm the host and lead writer of Botch Spots and Chair Shots. You can find us at botchspotsandchairshots.com. If you're more of a podcast kind of person, you can find us anywhere you do anything on the internet at that name. If you want to watch us live, look for Rivet City Radio on your live streaming platforms, your Twitches and your YouTubes. That's our network that we broadcast and call home. We've got everything from a chef show to trivia to Botch Spots and Chair Shots. We've got the Bosch Bits Power Hour and, my interview series, Tea and Hot Take. So there's tons of content there at Rivet City Radio, but the podcast is Botch Spots and Chair Shots. And again, Tino, thank you so much for letting me come in.
Man, no, I appreciate you coming on. It's more fun than me just sitting here going over that. I love doing drafts, man. And it's one of those things I've been trying to find like 4 friends that I could do like in my GM with, because I think that'd just be so much fun. So yeah,
I would totally get into that, but I haven't got 2K23 yet.
Well, we got to get you to get that. So, well, Will, thank you so much, man, coming and taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedule. Come here on the channel and hang out with me. Definitely got to have you on for a watch along or a retro series or something in the future. Me come on your show or something. But man, have a great Wednesday, and I will definitely talk to you soon. If you want to stay in the chat, if you want to stay, I'm just gonna do my little thing, let everybody know where to follow me. But guys, Go follow me at Tino's Time on SoundCloud and Spotify. Tino's Time 1996 on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. We are now on Twitch, Tino's Gaming 2023. Go follow us. We go live every weekend for gaming. We are 13 subscribers away, guys, to 1,000. If you guys have not yet, hit that subscribe button. Let's get there by next Saturday. Backlash. It's your boy Tino's birthday. Let's not waste no time. Let's get there before then. I appreciate you guys coming here, hanging out, spending time with me and Will. Make sure to go follow Will. I'll put his stuff in the description after we get off here. I hope you guys all have a great Wednesday afternoon, great Wednesday night, great Thursday. I'll see you guys all tomorrow afternoon for the Southside Boys episode number 6 and the NFL draft. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow afternoon.
Peace.